Hi, this is Danny from Cradle of Filth, and you're listening to Collision on Voice FM.
I want to ask you about, I don't know even where to start actually. Let's start with the latest video for Heartbreak and Seance. It's a bit of a masterpiece in itself, and I saw somewhere that you filmed it in Latvia.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we decided to film it in Latvia because, without sounding coarse, it was a lot cheaper. It's also the home of the video director, who's actually the artist for the album as well.
Right.
He's called Arthur Bazins, and he's a contemporary Latvian artist. He did the artwork for Hammer of the Witches, and subsequently we wanted him to... We just loved his artwork so much, we wanted to continue and do the artwork for this album. And then we found out from one of his peers that he was supposedly a better video director than he was an artist, which immediately made me leap to attention and decide to pool the budget for the video and the artwork and the photography into one, and then take the band to Riga in Latvia. And when we get there, we were just... I mean, obviously we'd done some pre-production beforehand, going backward and forward with ideas, but when we got there, we were just totally blown away by the enormity and scale of the production and the cast and crew, and, everything about it was just... really cinematic and big, and no CGI was involved, which was awesome.
Right, because you must have done literally hundreds of video clips and that. So going somewhere like that, and like you said, there were hundreds of crew and that. Is that an amazing experience for you, or is it just another film clip?
Well, we've done big productions in the past, but not for a while, and this one was really on a huge scale, probably the biggest, bar like Cradle of Fear and Cradle to Enslave. It was just, the attention to detail was just phenomenal. And every aspect of you can see that in every aspect of the video, and then that bled through to the artwork, because scenes and stages of the video was kind of bastardized through photography to create the parts of the artwork, not all of the artwork, but parts of it, and photography session. So yeah, it was like two very long, tantamount to 3 days. Yeah, it was brilliant. Really enjoyed it. I think the whole band did. It was almost like one of those team building exercises. The fact that we were travelling to somewhere quite strange as well.
Yeah,
strange in a good way, obviously.
Yeah, that's good. And the album Cryptoriana, The Seductiveness of Decay, is out on September the 22nd. What does Cryptoriana mean? Well,
it's an amalgam of two words. It's crypt and Victoriana, and it implies a Victorian era's fascination with everything macabre and personification of death. Their interest in spiritualism and palmistry and tarot and Ouija boards and anything really which they considered to be a science in order to contact the dead.
Right. Well, I want to go back to what you said about collaborating back and forth on the video, and then talking about the Victoriana and that in the album, because the album, every track is like a cinema piece in itself. And you must have had some sort of visions when you were actually writing the tracks and producing the tracks and that. So how much of your vision gets through to those videos?
Well, quite a bit, obviously, because, primarily the album is compiled by everybody. We took ourselves to Brno in the Czech Republic, where the drummer and one of the guitarists lives. And again, that was a sort of team-building exercise. It was also meant so that we could collate all the ideas that people had been coming up with, whether they were whole tracks or parts of tracks or just individual riffs that they thought would better serve a puzzle. And by the end of that session, which was a week and a half in the run-up to a festival in Slovakia, that was last August, we actually came out with about 85% of the album pretty much in place. And from there, obviously I could see generally the overall concept, rather than just having one song or two songs where they could be vastly different from the rest of the album. And it just threw up a lot of ideas. It was very ornate and fast and full of high Gothic melodrama. And I've been reading a lot of Victorian ghost stories and horror stories and Gothic fiction for the previous couple of months. And it just seemed to fit very well, that whole ideology. The album is either based on the workings, in the style of, authors like E.F. Benson and Rider Haggard, Arthur Conan Doyle, Oscar Wilde, Arthur Machen, Algernon Blackwood, Robert Louis Stevenson, people like that. All it's set in the Victorian era. From initialising those ideas and coming up with that, then that bleeds obviously through to everything else. The lyrics bleed through to the artwork, to the video, to the costumes, to everything really. One step at a time. At the moment, we're undertaking our stage show design and what we're going to bring and what we can bring when we fly around the world. And that's something that's obviously, you don't do everything at once. So now that the majority of the interviewing's out the way and the album's ready and merch is sorted and all this sort of malarkey, we can turn our attentions to the next stage in the game.
Yeah. When you say travel around the world, is that going to include Australia by any chance?
It is, but our new manager, he's a stickler for synergy, so I can't reveal the dates officially, but I can tell you it's going to be in May. I've got the dates in front of me, I know what they are, but it's definitely in May. Awesome,
look forward to that. And yeah, the album Cryptoriana, The Seductiveness of Decay will well and truly be out by then, because it's out this Friday, the 22nd. Well,
yeah, it comes out September 22nd. We're releasing the third single off the album, which will also be a lyric video.
Right.
I'd advise everybody to buy the special edition of the album because it has 2 bonus tracks, one of which, and extended artwork. And one of those tracks is a cover of Annihilator's Alice in Hell.
Yeah.
And also, I'd direct people to the Cradle of Filth Facebook page or cradleofilth.com because those are the places that get updated with tour dates and all other announcements first. That's updated by our social media girls twice, 3 times a day most days.
Yeah. Well, can I ask, with your work, every year for the last 4 years you've been releasing something either with Cradle of Filth or Devilment. So then I guess if the new Cradle of Filth album comes out, you're already working on the next Devilment album?
Well, we are, but not quite as the pace we were before, just because this album, especially under new management, is taking a lot of my time. And there's no rush for a new Devilment album as such. We've got some gigs coming up. I think they're going to be in Russia, Ukraine, possibly Latvia, before Christmas. And in between, because the Cradle World Tour starts in Japan in about a month, 5 weeks. Then we do UK and Ireland. Then we have a small break in which that Devilment tour will happen. And shooting another video to coincide with the bulk of the world tour that starts mid-January. That's 9 weeks almost, I think, in Europe. Then a week off. Wow, it's been spoiled. South America, Canada, then Japan again, Australia. And then we finish off in Asia, and then we come back and we're doing a few festivals, not many, literally about 3 over the summer, and that's because we're aiming to do the winter festivals 2018, and then 2019 do all the summer festivals. Otherwise, we'd just be sitting on our asses that year.
Yeah.
And obviously, in between that, starting to think about another Cradle album for 220, back into 219 actually.
Awesome. Do you actually feel more creative and energetic as you get older, or do you just feel more freedom to be able to do it?
It depends, really. I felt very, very creative when the band first started, but then I didn't have the weight of my world on my shoulders. With, when we started, there wasn't, mortgage and family, and, it wasn't the longevity of a career, but that longevity does give you a lot of freedom. So I would probably say it's about the same, no more, no less. Do feel very creative and do feel like you've got a lot of artistic freedom, and the record company are very good at that, not, poking their heads in too much, or at all really, and just letting us get on with it, because obviously they signed us for a reason, and they knew that we were good at what we did. So yeah, I'd say it's pretty much the same. Yeah,
and I still think there's lots more avenues that you can explore creatively in your life if you wish to.
Absolutely. It's off the top of my head now, can't think of a single thing, but it's not the time to be thinking of it just yet, so
no.
I'm good for a few months at least.
You've got Cryptoriana, The Seductiveness of Decay to think about at the moment, and we definitely look forward to seeing you in Australia when you get here next year. And it is Cradle of Filth on Facebook and cradleoffilth.com, and people can go and pre-order the album.
Absolutely. And I never understand people who say, oh, I've been looking for your album everywhere, I just can't find it. I just go, well, just tap on the computer. Amazon has it. And they probably have it cheaper than anywhere else. And I know people love shopping for records, but unfortunately in this day and age, the record store is almost a thing of the past.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, I know, but, time moves ever onward.
But then that's why people have to go to the show to buy a hard copy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is there anything you would like to say to your Australian fans about the album, which I want to say is an amazing trip?
Well, there's a few things that are noticeably, to us, different from, aside from the fact it's obviously new songs, which always helps with a new album. But it's one foot forward from Hammer of the Witches. It's the same lineup. We're feeling very, a lot more confident and working better together. And I suppose that's due to familiarity and just getting to know each other and how we work, etc. And having toured a lot. But things that we've dispensed with the intro and outro and middle section orchestral pieces. Instead, they're kind of encapsulated within the bulk of the songs. There's acoustic work, which is quite unusual for us. More emphasis on twin guitar melodies. It's very fast, very ornate, very melodic. There's a lot of big gothic melodramatic drop downs. Liv Christine, who featured on Amphetamine, she's back singing for a track called Vengeful Spirit, in which she plays the protagonist of the piece. So it's a very different song from Amphetamine, but still, unmistakably Liv and me. So that Beauty and the Beast mentality in the vocals going on. The last track on the album, Death and the Maiden, it's very different for us as well. It's very epic and very slow and heavy, and it has a build-up. There's a lot of guitar solos, very good guitar solos. I'm not there just for the sake of it, because I was never a big fan of guitar solos, but the musicianship on the album is amazing, and I can say that because I'm a vocalist. I just get to hang around with musicians. So the guitar solos are incredible. Oh yeah, a choir as well. We've got a choir with emphasis on lead soprano, so that works very well with the whole Victorian ghostly aura of the record. It's very evocative. Like I say, there's a cover on the special edition of Alice in Hell by Annihilator, and we wanted to undertake that because, well, one, we wanted to do it for ages, and two, we bumped into Jeff Waters a few times in the past year, and he wrote the song. And when I mentioned it to him that we were interested in covering it, he was like, yeah, man, you've got to do it, Cradle, do a good job. And since recording it, he's heard the song. He loves it, which is obviously great for us. It means we actually achieved our goal there.
Yeah.
So overall, yeah, there's a lot of small things that are different that add up to a bigger picture.
Awesome. I haven't actually received the bonus tracks, so I haven't heard them. But what I found with the album is, like, you can put the album on and it's an experience, or you can just listen to one track and that's an experience in itself.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, so everyone...
That's the thing about putting 3 singles out. There isn't one song that really defines a record, because each of the tracks are so unique and independent of one another that I think it takes pretty much 3 singles to get the broader picture. To say, well, these are the parameters of the album. This is very heavy, this is very old school, this is very intricate, this is quite a lovelorn melodic track, and the album, sways between all of those.
It's like, it's really, people have to check it out. It's like a mini horror movie. It's awesome. And the music is definitely the atmosphere. And the album is Cryptoriana, The Seductiveness of Decay, out the 22nd of September.
Victoriana, just Cryptoriana.
Yeah, through Nuclear Blast and cradleoffilth.com. And you can also check out Danny's other band at facebook.com/Devilment Corpse. Thank you so much for your time. It's always like amazing.
My pleasure.
It's amazing to get to talk to you, and it's actually really wonderful to get to keep seeing these amazing creative things that are coming out of you.
Well, they're not all creative, the things that come out of me.
Well, the things that you show us are, so thank you for that, and you have a great day.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, bye.
Cheerio, bye.